Welcome to Toffee TV. It is the final word. Arsenal 0, Everton 1. We are still giddy and high because the game only finished mere an hour ago. Yes,
So.
a victory. The double over Arsenal. A win at the Emirates. A win against Arsenal. All these things should make us really, really excited about the future of Everton Football Club. Oh, we are on. Going that way, Baz?
Yeah.
Only one way we're going. It's
Yeah.
up there. Taking off like a 747.
Okay.
There you go.
I mean, that's quite an introduction,
Yeah,
isn't
I mean, it is.
I mean, some of that I absolutely agree with. The other bits of it maybe a little bit of a stretch, but big win tonight. Not a good performance, but a big win. And to do all of that stuff that you've just said, first time we've done a double over Arsenal since 85-86 season. First time we've won at the Emirates, you know, big win. We've chalked off Anfield and Arsenal this season of big wins. We've won at Spurs, we've won at Leicester. So we've had big wins this season. But those three, Spurs, Arsenal, Liverpool, to go to them grounds and come away with 3 points. And have a clean sheet at all three as well. And Leicester is a big thing. Big thing.
Big win. Big win. Got to be positive. As you just said, it wasn't a great performance. It was a 0-0 game, if it was anything. But we've been on the other end of them this season. And listen, after the Crystal Palace game, the manager came out and he said, we've just dropped 2 points there. We've lost those 2 points. We need to find those 2 points from somewhere else. And we found them tonight. We got them tonight. You know, a game in Crystal Palace where we should have won comfortably. And we all know that. And tonight, really, it was a draw. It was a draw, like a lot of games this season that have been swung by 1 goal. It was a draw.
West Ham at home, wasn't it?
Yeah,
that kind of game.
Leeds at home. There's a few games that have been that way. And tonight, we got the all-important goal. It's fortunate, but we got it, and we take the 3 points. You know, it's our first win in, what, 6 games, is it?
Yeah.
And it just keeps that little bit of hope alive. Obviously, we're only a point behind Liverpool. We're only a point behind Spurs, and we've got a game in hand on them as well. And when you look at the fixtures we've got to come, there's tough one. They're tough. Some of them look more tough than others, of course they do. But there's still that chance. You know, no one is running away with it. You know, I think now the top, obviously Man City, Man United, and probably just Leicester maybe will grab those first 3 spots. But you know, is it a little bit too far for the Champions League? Probably, just because of the form we've been in the last 6-7 games. But certainly for those 2 European places, 5th and 6th, I still feel like they're up for grabs.
And possibly 7th.
Yeah, well, 7th as well, sorry. If Man City do the business at the weekend. They're there to get, we're still in the mix, so we've got to cling on to that, haven't we? And that's why tonight was such an important win.
We have got to cling on to it. You know, we done the live before and the watch-along thing, and I was talking to people about the fact that we are still in the race for Europe. This was before the game or half-time, and people were like, you know, stop saying that because we're not. And I was like, if we win the game, we're a point off Europe, so how are we not in it? And they were like, yeah, but we just aren't playing well. Doesn't matter what we didn't play. I'm going to sit here and tell you that we didn't play well tonight, but it doesn't really matter how we're playing. The manager said in his press conference before the game, we need to win 5 out of 7 games, and if we do, we're in Europe. Well, there's one chalked off.
No one's playing well. No one's playing. Footy's crap. Yeah. Footy is crap. I mean, I think even now the people on TV are starting to admit that it's crap. It's this is the worst season, I think, in my lifetime, and there's obvious reasons for that. Yeah. The obvious reasons are there's no fans in the crowd, but also the gap between the end of last season and this season, and there are no pre-season. I've caught up with everything. I've just caught up, and even international breaks. You had like the last one, you had 3 games. It's crap, and there's nothing good about it at all. So every game you watch is stale and boring, and it's all it comes down to is if you get an opportunity, taking it. Fortuitous or not, staying in games, and that's Carlo's. That's his go-to strategy, isn't it? Staying in games of football. We don't always like it, but certainly away from home, 10 away wins. The last time we did that was the 86-87 season. Last time we won the league, and we're struggling to get a European place. That tells you how mad this season has been. It
tells you how bad our home form is.
Yeah.
Is what it tells you. It's a 1 win in 9 at Goodison. and that was Southampton.
Yeah.
And they nearly equalised late on in that. Since Arsenal, ironically, it was the last home game we won apart from Southampton, wasn't it? So it shows you if we'd have, and I know, listen, everyone can say this and we can flip it the other way and being great at home and be rubbish away like we normally are. But it does frustrate you when you've had such a good season away that we haven't been able to be good at home. But then I guess the teams who we've beaten could say the same, couldn't they?
What did you make of the team? Because obviously it was, you know, not really familiar as such. You know, going back to the four at the back, having Seamus at right back, having Mason Holgate and Ben Godfrey at centre back, and then obviously having the dreaded three of, well, not individually as such, but having James Rodriguez, Andre Gomez, and Gylfi Sigurdsson in midfield.
And Allan.
That, you know, but those three, those then dynamic, fast-paced players.
Well, none of them are they?
Well, James Rodriguez is dynamic, but pace isn't, you know, and then obviously having Dom and having Richarlison.
Yeah, well, I mean, Michael Keane's obviously picked up a knock in training because he wasn't in the 18. You know, he'd understand, seeing people saying, is this just, has he been dropped because of last week? Well, he'd have been sub, wouldn't he? Yeah. So if not in the 18, he's obviously picked up an injury. So Yerry Mina's just come back training. So I can understand why he went with Holgate and Godfrey. And the other thing as well was Arsenal's striking options, Nketiah or Martinelli, neither are big, powerful centre forwards. They're sharp and they move good movements in the box. So we didn't really need to risk Yerry Mina if he's not fully fit, even though he is our best defender. Out and out defender anyway. You know, Ben Godfrey's still laying the role at Everton. He's done it very well at Norwich. So, yeah, I mean, that's why we went with the back four we went with. And then midfield, Andre Gomez, the manager obviously thinks he wants him in the team because he gets hold of the ball and can, you know, is a decent passer of the ball. The problem, Andre Gomez is a decent, although tonight some of his passing was a bit awry, but then so was James. And Andre Gomez can be that player. The problem Andre Gomez has is in the final third at both ends, he's not very good. Defensively, he's terrible. And offensively, he offers very little. Yeah. You know, he had a shot in the first half, which got us a corner, which was fine. But he doesn't do that enough. He doesn't thread balls through. He doesn't travel with the ball anymore, like we first saw when we got him. But I can understand why the manager thinks if we give him the ball in midfield, he's strong enough to hold people off and he can bring people into play. I
thought in the first half, I thought it was a slow start. It was a slow start for both sides, like you see in every game, feeling each other out. We've seen it last week in Spurs, and it was a dreadful game till the one mistake, and then suddenly it opened it up when Kane scored. Both feeling each other out, but as the half went on, I started feeling a bit more confidence at the way we were playing. You know, I think Dom had the first half chance, great ball in by Luca Dean, and you know the diving header, which even if he hadn't had the player standing next to him running with him, it would have been a very difficult chance. So it was even harder with someone running alongside. We had a couple of, you know, one where Dean threw a cross in, it hit someone, the keeper had to make a quick reaction. And obviously set pieces, we looked dangerous, because there's one from Ben Godfrey as well. I think Sigurdsson whipped it in, it bounced, and I think their player got the touch on it rather than Ben Godfrey, and the keeper had to react. So we were forcing them into things. So I felt like it was all about the midfield. I felt like it was just their press against our press in that midfield. It wasn't really getting into the final third for either team. It was unravelling for both sides. I think you're seeing the faults of both sides there. Both sides don't dominate in midfield. We said before how important that midfield is for the Premier League, having real athletes who can get hold of the ball and run with the ball as well. Because that's another thing that I think both teams don't really have. And Arsenal used to be, you know, synonymous for it. Having someone in midfield who can pick it up and drive and eat up the yards. They don't really have those players. I mean, they had a lot of young players tonight, you know, and you know, I've been told before that some of their young players are amazing. In fact, I was told earlier on in the season that one of their young players could be down for play of the season, which was absolutely. I laughed my head off at the time, but there you go. But
He is a good player, though, Bakary Saka.
Yeah, but...
He's not player of the year by any stretch.
No,
but he is a good player.
But he's an all right player.
Oh, he's a good player.
I'm yet to see it personally, but there you go.
I actually think Arteta got that wrong for them. I think he should have played Bakary Saka on the left and Pepe on the right, and he didn't. He had Pepe on the left and Saka on the right.
He both failed to impress both of them. Pepe's another, and every time I see him, he just runs.
72 million.
He runs around a bit. Runs around a bit. He's a, you know, they paid double for what we paid for Iwobi for him. And then obviously we hit the bar through Gylfi Sigurdsson. Again, commentator telling us how amazing he is off direct free kicks at the bar. And then the other chance was Allan threading the ball through to Richarlison. Great feet, cut inside, and keeper makes a decent save. And Dom has just gone too quick early. You know, any other time, any other time. So I thought first half, I thought we did quite well. I thought we limited their chances. They didn't really have any shots on target. They got.
He had one from Saka, didn't he? Which was straight to Pickford, didn't have to do anything. They
got in and around the box, and we just cut off all the passing lanes really. And
yeah, I thought they knocked it round. Certainly the first 20 to 25 minutes, they looked the better side. They passed it better than we did. They created angles better than we did. They done that little Arsenal thing that we've seen for so many years, which is the nice little triangle, and they slide one in behind you. But I think for the most part of it, we were our own worst enemy. One of the chances they got, in fact, it probably led to that Saka one, was Seamus Coleman. Done brilliantly, defended it brilliantly, come away with it. And instead of just playing it in the channel, tried some little flick to James, they stopped it, played it inside, they were in the box.
Yeah.
And he worked it out, comes in and Saka has a shot. And it was moments like that, James losing the ball, surrounded by three men, getting shoved off, and they broke on us. Gomez did the same. But once we cut that out and started, not taking chances, we were the ones then pressing. I think we finished the first half more likely to score a goal than what they did. And went in at half time. It wasn't a great game of football, but you went in at half time thinking, okay.
It's the same as last week, wasn't it? It was there to be won at half time. You're sitting there and you're thinking,
can we get the goal?
We can go and win this. We can go and win this game, and ironically, we came out second half, and for, I think beginning of the second half, actually, we had probably our best move of the game. Lovely little passing move on the right-hand side. Ball ends up Seamus Coleman, very similar to last week's second goal.
It was, yeah.
He pulls it back and Sigurdsson gets there, but the defender just gets across him to stop a shot on target. A really good block. And that was probably our best move. And from then we just didn't have the appetite to get out of our half. We just couldn't. We kept on just losing the ball before it got to the halfway line. And even though, again, you could sit back and you could probably watch that half now, knowing what we know about the game, and you go, yeah, but they haven't. But when you're in the game, you're like, why do we keep on giving it away? And like you just said there, what's wrong with threading it through? A couple through into the channels, or going long and getting Dominic involved in the game, Dominic Calvert-Lewin involved in the game. But we didn't. We kept on just giving it away too much, and that allowed them to start getting that little bit of head of steam that they never really used. But obviously, when you're sitting there watching the game, you're always thinking, one of these is going to come off. And there was a couple of moments in the first half where I had me heart in my mouth with people like Richarlison going in for tackles and just putting the foot down, and you're thinking, there's one where. The commentator on Sky actually said something. Oh, they say stay on your. That's why you shouldn't stay on your feet. And I was like, no, mate, he didn't touch him. That was in the first half, and then the second half, obviously we seen one
again.
But he does it again, and unfortunately, that's what happens. You go in, you put a foot near someone. If they're gonna take the chance, they're gonna dangle a leg out, and the referee give a penalty. Which, when you looked at it again, I was amazed that VAR weren't looking for the contact, because I couldn't see any contact at all. But the problem is the ref had already give it, and because you couldn't see that there was, you could see as much that there wasn't contact as you could see that there was contact, if that makes any sense. So the referee it was always going to be for the referee, but then they started checking the offside.
Well, I think if he would have looked at it,
I don't think he would have changed his decision.
I do.
Because I don't think he would have seen it enough either way. He's seen it with his eye and said, I think that's a penalty. And I think when you look at that video, you can't actually, because the angles are so poor.
No, but there's one from the side which you see that he doesn't. If he touches him at all, he brushes against him. And I don't think he does touch him.
I don't think he touches him.
Takes
I'm just saying by the video. But it went to offside. And again, it is one of those very, very tight decisions, minuscule, which has gone against Arsenal. And you know, Arteta's come out after the game, and I think I don't even think he's criticising how tight it was. He's criticising how far back it's been pulled. And it's funny because he actually said something in the interview that we spoke about. When we said about we got a corner and our player looked to be offside, didn't he? But they don't pull it back for that. And he actually mentioned that. He said what if they'd scored from the corner? That wouldn't have been looked at. And he was saying, look how far it's been pulled back. So I have got some sympathy, not much, but I've got some sympathy in how far. Again, they're the things that have to be really tightened up with VAR about like how many phases do you pull it back from and all that kind of thing. But I'll be honest. Tonight, sitting here, I'm not really asked.
I still think they would have had to go and look at the penalty. I mean, Graham Souness, who would never give Everton last week's Echo or whatever, has absolutely hammered Ceballos for going because it was never a penalty. He said it's never a penalty.
I don't think it was a penalty.
And when you've got, you see what kind of annoys me with the whole thing is, if there was no VAR, right, you couldn't really have a go at the ref. You'd kind of go, if you've made, that's a terrible mistake by the referee. But he's got nothing to help him out because he's just looked like that with his eyes, right? But with VAR, the minute it didn't need VAR. When Sky showed it again, you went, not a penalty. He hasn't touched him. Nowhere near touching him.
Oh, I didn't think it was a penalty.
And really, the lad probably should be banned. He won't. But this happened to Nias a couple of years ago and people like that who there was contact. And because he exaggerated it, Salah, you know, should be banned, but that's football, isn't it? Wasn't a penalty, offside. Yeah, you know, we might have got it. Well, we didn't get away with it because it wasn't a penalty, but it wasn't given, so that was.
It would be interesting to know if he had been given onside, whether he would have looked at it. I don't know whether he would have. But,
yeah, but you might be
right. It is what it is. You know, it is what it is. It wasn't given. There's still plenty of time left in the game. And obviously we took advantage of that. And then really our first meaningful move, you know, not necessarily at the half, but after our first sense, which was quite early on, and we get the goal from it. And, you know, Richarlison's done well. He's found himself in a bit of space. I think was it Grand Xhaka that he goes past?
No, it was Chambers, wasn't it? Chambers or Holden. 1v1 Chambers it was, yeah.
Skins him, and then just ferociously unleashes an effort across the box, which Leno fails to deal with, and it goes into the back of the net so slowly that
terrible goalkeeper.
It was horrendous.
Terrible goal.
Horrendous.
And I still can't believe they let Martinez go to Villa and they kept him. But yeah, I mean, you know, Everton had a penalty claim, hadn't he? When
the handball.
Mari had his hands behind his back, put his hands there.
Yeah, which is unnatural. It's unnatural unless you're doing the mashed potato.
Which really VAR should have looked at and awarded Everton a penalty for. But I mean, Sky showed it again. It was a penalty, but they didn't give it. But we don't get penalties. But and that's just for people moaning. That's just for people. That's second of the season or something in the league or third.
Fourth.
Leicester about 17 or something. Yeah. But you know, it was terrible goalkeeping. Richarlison does really well. 1v1 skins him. And it's not a great ball across. Dom's coming in, he just hits it straight. And the keeper's obviously done that thing where he's thinking, grab it, throw it out to me full-back and we'll be on the move. And as he took his eye off it, it's gone through him and it's rolled in. And because he's on the line, there's nowhere to go, has he? It's rolled under him and it's in the back of the net. And I'd said to you, you know, years ago, Martinez's first season, we had a goal like that at Sunderland with Delph, which we won the game 1-0.
And it has been given as an own goal as well.
Yeah, well, it was an own goal.
No, it was an own goal.
I mean, the Richarlison's milking it and dancing and putting his dance on Twitter and having bants with the Arsenal fans. But it was in the net, and then it was the thing then that can Everton do what they've actually been. The one thing I went to the toilet and come back in, and you were like, we're doing the thing we're very good at, and it was keeping our shape, closing down the passing lanes and snuffing them out.
Well, funny enough, we'd already brought Delph on the pitch, which was an incredible moment for Everton Football Club, an incredible moment. One of the standout moments of being
of
an
the
Evertonian.
season as well.
seeing Fabian Delph come on with white socks, which was, again, fair play to him. Fair play to him.
He's wore the reverse socks.
He's done something out of the box.
He wanted to make him... I mean, to be fair, he's one up on Sidderby.
Yeah.
Sidderby just decided to try and come on with one sock.
And he's gone
and
two.
He's gone two. They haven't been the right colour, but at least he can dress himself.
A little bit different. Come on, the pitch. First thing he did was lose the ball, give it away. And then the second thing he did after 154 seconds was get a yellow card. So it was absolutely incredible. But he settled down after that. And ironically enough...
He did do a 100-metre pass in the air, which you looked away and missed. Instead of clearing it, he went to clear it and done the Newcastle thing last season. I mean, just kicked it up into the air like that and put us in trouble.
Why wouldn't you?
But he did settle it down and he got himself in the right position.
The irony is he came on before we'd scored and he was the right person to be on the pitch after we'd scored.
Yeah.
So he was already there. So
he brought Tom Davies on.
It was great foresight by Carlo Ancelotti that we were going to score. And he already had Delph on the pitch.
He's the manager.
That's what he gets paid the big bucks for.
That's why he's the manager.
And like I said, when we were watching the game, once you're 1-0 up, and you're playing a team like Arsenal, who struggle for goals, I think. They scored something like 16, 17 goals at home this season. It's abysmal.
I seen in the preview, they'd done the starting 11's goals. And Arsenal's had 11 in. And Everton's had 22 in, which was mad. Yeah. But obviously, because Dominic Calvert-Lewin was back when them 11 or whatever it was. But yeah, you're right, they don't really score a lot of goals. And they scored more away, I think, than they have at the Emirates. But yeah, well, it is very much that season for doing it, isn't it? But you're right, I think, Jordan Pickford had to make a good save. I think it was still 0-0 at the time from Ceballos, edge of the box. It was a comfortable one, but he's palmed it away. And I thought he kept his head on the game tonight, Pickford, because he wasn't needed for a lot of the game, but he looked like he was switched on. And that's a big thing. I talked about it in my 3 talking points. I think that's just one of the things I've noticed, that, working with the sports psychologist, and God, he's needed it this year. The kid's been mentioned every week since the derby in October, hasn't he? They blamed him for something. They haven't they?
No, I know.
He gets blamed for everything. I was going to say something else, but I won't. I'm surprised they haven't blamed him for the Super League, but I've been really impressed with him since he come back for the return for the derby, didn't he?
I do think he has.
I think he's on it, and when he's on it, you don't have to worry about him, and that's the biggest thing.
It is definitely a mindset change. You can see it.
Yeah,
he's
the
hair is part of it, and all the little bits and bobs. I think it's all
the drink.
It's all play, and he's calmer. You can see he's a little bit calmer, and he's maybe it's all finally clicking into place, because I think it had to this season with everything going on,
and especially what happened with Van. Maybe he's had to look at himself.
Yeah, and you got the Euros at the end of the season, all that kind of thing. So he obviously did what big goalkeepers or the best goalkeepers have to do, and when it came to the last minute and they got a chance, he made a great save. Seamus wins the ball.
I know.
And then he's going, does that, he does, we always say that, he does that thing that he does with Seamus Coleman, where he'll run towards his own goal. And instead of just, I don't know whether it might have been one of those where, we've seen penalties this year where players go to take a kick, and then the player nips in front of them and they kick the player. Maybe he was a little bit worried that if he swung his foot at it and that lad nipped in and got a touch, then he could go down. Because we've seen that a few times.
Yeah, no.
But he was so... Or it might have just been a heavy touch.
I mean, essentially what Arsenal, the penalty they got at Goodison Tom Davies.
Yeah. And what Newcastle got against us, Andre Gomez. So he's a lad. But by doing that, he's let the lad get in.
He's back in.
He's had the shot, and it's a big save, big strong hand, and it's ended up going out for a corner, and then we've dealt with it, and then he's had to deal with one which. It was a foul, and it wouldn't have been given anyway, but it's a fantastic... He doesn't know that. Yeah. He doesn't know that. They've got all their plays in the box.
Into the floor. And
he's made an incredible save. So he was switched on, and he's won us the 3 points at the end of the game there. Because really, there wasn't anyone stand out for us. No. Richarlison got man of the match, which was Listen, Richarlison run round a little bit, and he worked hard, and he dropped into defensive areas when we needed him to, but he hasn't done anything amazing. He hasn't done anything creative. Okay, does he get the assist for the goal? I don't know.
Well, he'll get an assist because if it's not the goal.
Yeah.
Well, look, Richarlison did get man of the match.
Let's look at Richarlison's numbers. There you go. One shot on target, which is not the goal. Dribble attempts, 4 out of 4. Touches, 42. tackles 3, interceptions 3, so defensively he's done his job there as well.
100% dribbles he had, which is impressive because I think he's the only player on the pitch who had that tonight. And obviously that led, the 1v1 dribble led to the goal, didn't it, with the assist. I didn't think he had a very good game for him. I thought he was sloppy at times. You already mentioned that he trailed the leg at Caballos in the first half, and he didn't touch him then either.
Yeah.
So if the comments, because I can't watch it with the commentators because they're idiots. But if Dave said he should have gone down, well, it was nonsense because he wouldn't have been touched then either. But he looked like he had that like lazy thing of, I'll just stick my leg out, and you know, that kind of mental attitude on him. But the one thing he did do, because I do think he was asked to play deeper, I think Everton lined up more of a 4-4-1-1 like we did in the derby, and in the first half in particular, he was on the right-hand side, and James was off Dom. And he did slack back and he did work hard, as we've seen with tackles there and stuff. So he put the work in. It's the little bit of sharpness or the little bit of something special it just hasn't happened for him this season.
There was one after the goal, I think it was. He picked it up and I think we had like a 3-on-3.
Last minute it was, yeah.
No, earlier than this. It was just after the goal. It was like a 3-on-3. And he had someone to the right and someone to the left. And but by the time he'd made a decision, they had got men back and we ended up losing the ball. I think it went to James Rodriguez and they took it off him.
Well, that was after the goal. It was like injury time because I walked out.
So, you know, his decision making has to get better, but he'll get assist tonight. But obviously, it's about Ben Godfrey and Mason Holgate playing tonight, centre-backs, obviously two young centre-backs. Ben Godfrey, obviously, with his customary sliding challenge, which everyone, it's become a trademark. What can Ben Godfrey slide tackle next? Let's just have a little look at Ben Godfrey's numbers. So 89% passing accuracy, 5 clearances, 3 block shots, header clearances 3 out of 3, tackles 3 out of 3, ground duels 3 out of 4.
75%, yeah. 100% of his clearances.
So he's had a very good game there, actually. He's had a very good game.
Centre back in a defence that's kept a clean sheet. You know, Mason Holgate, I thought, had a decent game alongside him as well. I thought he made one brilliant interception in the first half when we got caught. James would give the ball away and they come in and the ball come across and Holgate just nicked in. I thought he'd done well as well, but Godfrey was very good. And, you know, like you say, he's not played many games at centre-back, but he's always in the team. And lately he has been the centre-back in the team. And he is probably making him... I think he's very dependable, isn't he? He's, as well as all the other things, he's quick and everything else. He's very... I mean, his passing tonight at times was a little bit sketchy.
Not as greatest asset.
Not at the minute, no, we need to sharpen up. But defensively, I think he was very good with Holgate tonight. I think the issue is with those two, if you have got a big centre forward who you're playing against, because they're not dominating in the air, either of them. But against Arsenal, who are quick and little passing around the side and pacey and lively, they're probably, you know, a decent partnership to have. And it was a good game to have with Keane obviously being out injured and Yerry Mina just coming back, that we could go with those two. And it's up to them if they're going to be Everton's long-term partnership. I don't know whether that's the plan. Because don't forget, the Premier League doesn't have many big target men strikers. I mean, Dominic Calvert-Lewin's very much against the grain, isn't he? Yeah. For that kind, who's great in the air. A lot of them are mobile and lively strikers and they drop off.
False nines
and all that. So, you know, maybe that there is an opportunity for both of them to become Everton's
But ultimately, though, you do need 4.
Oh, you do?
Especially if you want to play in Europe.
Well, we've said anyway that the right fit for us, we think at the minute, will be Mina with Godfrey, you know, while Mason gets his form back up, because he has got to improve his form. But I thought, compared to last Friday, and I know they were up against a fantastic striker last Friday, the sloppy mistakes tonight, there wasn't any, albeit as good as Nketiah it is, he's not Harry Kane level, is he? So, but I thought he'd done well tonight. Yeah.
A lot of responsibility on Allan's shoulders as well tonight, wasn't it, in midfield with... Yeah. I mean, we've already spoke about, you know, Andre Gomez. He lumbers around the pitch. I mean, that's the best word for him. He lumbers around the pitch. And obviously, James Rodriguez wants to get on the ball all the time. And to the point where tonight he was coming far too deep and then put himself in position to lose the ball. And
in dangerous areas.
Yeah, Gylfi Sigurdsson, again, offensive player. So a lot was on Allan's shoulders tonight to run that midfield, and I thought he done a really, really good job tonight of doing that. Let's just have a look at his numbers. So touches 65, accurate passes 82%, key passes 1, ball recoveries 4, tackles
66% of his
and block shots 3.
Yeah.
So he does a little bit of everything, and I just think that I just can't wait, or I hope that next season, you know, he starts the season and you see him play 20 games, you know, back to back, refreshed after a summer of, you know, at least going away on holiday or whatever. I don't know what's going to happen with the Copa America or whatever, but being able to play a game where he's obviously settled into this Everton team, and maybe a couple of runners round him, and Decore back, and someone on the right of him and someone on the left of him, and you know, get a little bit of pace around him, and I think you'll see just a bit more of him, because you can tell it's there, and obviously with all the experience as well. In games like tonight, where he is that one man in midfield, he's so important.
Yeah, he's brilliant. I mean, I watched Fernandinho for Man City, and even at 36, he's still fantastic. Incredible. The experience and everything. And I think Allan can be that kind of experienced player who can do a bit of everything for us. We've seen it tonight. The one real key pass in the game. You know, we won the ball and come forward and just bent it into the path of Richarlison, and he was in on goal. So, you know, he's got that. He can do it all. He can close the door on people. He can travel with the ball. I think Everton's real issue is, and this is not new, and for, you know, the risk of boring people because we say it a lot, there isn't any mobility in that midfield. So when Allan's getting it, no one's running either side for him. And this is what undone James as well tonight. He was coming so deep to get involved in the game. He was getting it on the half turn and turning, but no one was moving.
Well, we said this against Brighton.
So by the time they crowded him out of the ball, our players don't run.
No.
Gomez ain't going to shuffle back and forward. Gylfi is technically very good, but doesn't run.
No, doesn't move.
Coleman wasn't bombing on because he was playing right back. So
they only ever really got Dean on. And what happens is he has to, like,
he has to manipulate.
You see it, you have to turn, he has to do all these turns. And if he's got 3 on him, where's he going to go? And if everyone's trying to get forward and then they push on him, it obviously leaves. And I'm not like criticising him, because it's frustrating for him who wants to be on the ball. I don't think he had a good game, but you can see what he's trying to do. And if he's got someone on straight away, even if it's just a pass where he can give it and get it back, you know what he wants to. He wants to be cute, he wants to be smart, he wants to turn it around the corner and get it back and be facing the goal. But there's not enough clever players in the team to do that. There's not enough mobility. You know, I've said so many times, what we need is what we haven't got. And until we get it, you're not going to get the best, anywhere near the best out of these players. And sometimes you can criticise Everton on a performance like tonight or against Brighton. But you sort of have to look at it and go, what else would we have done? We're not a very good side. We lack major components. It's not about the... Sometimes you look at it and go, oh, he's a good player, and he's a good player, and he's a good player, and he's a good player. But what a lot of them lack is dynamism, pace. You know, you just mentioned there, Seamus Coleman, when he's playing right wing back, he can get up and down. But then that means you have to play a system that mightn't work for the game. You know, Ben Godfrey is what he is because he is fast. He's mobile and he's strong. And what he done when he come into the Everton side was, at first you looked at him and he's a little bit not sure about him. But it's that thing of like, oh, he looks a bit raw. But what he's done, because he's played games and games and games, because the manager goes, well, if he makes a mistake, he'll get himself out of it 9 times out of 10. No one's beaten him in a foot race.
No.
And what you want that all over the pitch, and that means bringing in. That affords you, I think, to bring in someone who's a little bit raw. If they've got the components that'll get them through a game.
This is why I've been critical, though, of our recruitment, because the basic elements needed to play in the Premier League. And if you've just said it there with Ben Godfrey, he come in, he was a little bit raw, but he also had to get lashed in at right back and left back because we needed players in them positions. He's a centre back, but he done it. He got on with it. But you're right, he's got the ability to get himself out of trouble if he's in trouble.
Yeah.
Right? And that covers a multitude of sins. So imagine if you had that at right back and you had that in centre midfield. You've got them options, those players who can, all right, they mightn't be, the most cultured midfield player, But you see it with Decore. How many times does Decore get the ball? He takes one touch. He's trying to get it under control. It bounces away from him. But because he's quick and his legs are long, he gets a toe and toe pokes it to the next player and gets it back. Or he shifts the ball back inside and he's moved away from the players. When you've got people like Andre Gomez that want to slow it down and look up, or you've got, you know, Gylfi who wants to shift it and get it back. They're all, you just said it then, in isolation, all of these players are good footballers, right? They're decent footballers. There's one word, balance.
Okay.
And Everton don't have it.
No.
And so you're right, we can sit here and be frustrated and go, why don't we do that? And I see people going, why are Brighton better than us? And what I'd say is we're 8th and going for Europe, and Brighton are hanging on to the Premier League status. Yeah, they might knock it round and it looks better, but they're not better, are they? Because otherwise
it's not efficient.
It's not, is it? Because they're near the bottom.
No.
And other teams are like that. But a team like Crystal Palace are workmanlike and are ordered because they've got most of it, mobility and physicality. Burnley were very good at it, but they've lost a lot of it because players have left. Without having anything in the top end of it, do you know what I mean? Tottenham are another one where they're functional. Spurs are better than, they should be better than functional, but they're functional, so they compete in a lot of games. Everton have to play this way. I don't like it. We've said it before. I don't like it. It's not the way I'd choose us to play, but the manager's looked and gone, I've got 4 of my own players. The rest of these players who are here, some are really good, and I can work with them.
You can't build a team.
You can't build a team who aren't. And the two of his 4 players aren't mobile. One's good, but has used to play with Zielinski, Fabian Ruiz, who are brilliant footballers at Napoli. And the other one is here because he's had a lot of injury problems, but he's still a fabulous footballer.
But you can't play. You can't play with pace if you haven't got pace. You can't play a style that is going to get you around the pitch quick. So you have to use a different method than we've seen all season. I don't particularly like the way we play. I don't particularly think it's entertaining. It's not entertaining, but there's nothing really entertaining about football this season at all. But it needs pace injected into it massively. And as I said, you can't invent pace.
No.
You know, you can make players better. You can organise players, but you can't invent pace.
No.
You've either got it in your side or you haven't. And it's, with someone like, and that's why Ben Godfrey plays every single week. That's why, because he's one of only players who's got pace. You look to the bench, there's no one on the bench with pace. You know, it's why he plays, why you want, where people go, maybe Richarlison or Dominic Calvert-Lewin needs dropping. He's not going to be dropped because what they've got is a little bit of pace to at least. And until we get a couple of players who've got that, then nothing will change. It's why Decore was ever present player in the side, because every game you knew that he could get round the pitch with mobile. And that's not even pace as such. I know he can get going, but that's also mobile, mobility.
Yeah. He's not slow.
That's where I say about Gomez. He lumbers around the pitch. He looks like a sloth. He just goes.
He doesn't sprint to close people down, does he?
He's just like moving.
He's a nice footballer, but there's no substance.
He's got great hair, but that's not going to help when it comes to running fast. So, not ironically, quite tellingly, really, it was our first win since Decore's been injured. He obviously got injured in the win at West Brom, and we've not won a game since he's been off the first game that we've had Delph available.
He was on the bench for a while. No, but it is that mobility, and you're right. And like I've said before, there's players who are good technical players, but until we get that other kind of mobility and power in the team, we're not really. It's a case of just going, right, we've got 6 games left. Can we win 4 of them? That's what, by hook or by crook. We can sit here, and I can sit here and go, don't like this, and moving forward we need to do. That's fine. I agree. I'm the one saying it. People are saying to me, "Whoever wins a win." I go, "I know, yeah, but it's still rubbish." And I expect us to be, having spent 470 odd million, I expect us to be able to play football and be athletic. But I can't keep banging back to that drum because that a lot of managers have come and gone in that time. But we are where we are.
Players are not at the club.
And some players, a lot of money that has gone.
But it doesn't matter. Listen, you can spend a lot, as much as you want. You know, if you don't have the players, you don't buy the right players. But that's a different subject for a different day. Let's just look at the stats from the game. There you go. that possession is just it's the sweet spot. Again, that's why we've won. 38% is what I like, but 41
41's probably the optimum.
There's a 5% swing of it.
Either way.
So I'm in on that all
Well, we
day.
got 14 shots to 8, 3 on target to 1. Yeah, I mean, no big chances. The XG for the game was 0-0.
Yeah,
because it was a 0-0 game. Arsenal 59%, 621 passes, 436 to Everton. So
there you go. I will take that all day long. The double over Arsenal.
6 games to go. I'll take that every game, please.
Yeah, I'll take
6 home goals to win us 6 games would be lovely. Yeah. A win is a win.
Never been done.
A win is a win. No, we could be the first.
The first.
A win is a winner.
There you go.
And doesn't it feel nice for the week we've had?
Now. Nice start, nice weekend now. Start after a weekend of utter. So it's a win for the good guys.
That was what I was going to say.
It's a win.
Gary Neville has celebrated it tonight.
It's a win for the good guys. It's a win for the guys like Jordan Pickford. Who've had to take all kinds of criticism all year from the big organised machines that are all out there trying to pick off the wholesome family clubs, that the real football clubs. So this is a win for the good guys. Not the little guys, the good guys. This is a win for the good guys.
Okay, fair play.
So there you go. Don't let anyone tell you any different. Don't forget, make sure to give this video a like, subscribe if you haven't already. We are so close to the 50,000, and honestly, it'll just make us happy. Just make us happy. Make our lives just a little bit happy if we get to that 50k. So if you haven't subscribed, please do. If you want to watch the final word live every time there's a final word, then join us over on Patreon. We're doing this live now on a Friday night, and there's going to be a little bit extra after you've all left us. The people on YouTube, there'll be a little bit extra, a little Q&A with the patrons on the game. So make sure you join us for that. The link is in the description, and it'll be on the screen as well. We do live daily videos on Patreon, so if you want to get involved in that, please do. It's good. It's really great. Really good community. There you go. Thank you for watching. Enjoy your weekend. See you later. No!